Right now at noon, we are tracking yet another day that we could be dealing with some severe weather. Who's under the greatest threats, the timing, and when we will say goodbye to the humidity briefly in the full forecast.
Plus, how top Pentagon officials are joining the president in pressing the case that U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites were effective. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Breiter. Those alert day conditions continue here in southern Wisconsin as we could see more heavy rain and severe storms today. Let's go to First Warn meteorologist Blaze Keller. He is tracking the latest forecast. And boy, another day, more storms. We're just in this pattern.
Yes, we are continuing to sit underneath that unsettled pattern. We got a little bit of sunshine out there this afternoon. That is the reason why we're dealing with yet another alert day. The sunshine is certainly going to help our chances later this afternoon for strong storms and once again that flooding possibility as these storms are bringing with them quite a lot of rain. We've seen this over the last few days. We have a marginal and a slight risk for severe weather. So in terms of number of severe thunderstorms, we're looking at an isolated threat in the green to a scattered chance for severe thunderstorms in the yellow. So that includes most of Dane County, as well as Iowa, Lafayette, Grant, Crawford. You're getting the picture all the way up into Richland, Sauk, Juneau, Adams, Columbia. Further south and east, you're going to be underneath more of that isolated threat. The tornado threat is there this afternoon. And folks, we just put this on Facebook, but even though the green and the brown are relatively low on the probability, don't let your guard down. That still could mean that we could see a few tornadoes later this afternoon. So make sure, especially if you're in the brown there, that you have a safety plan and a way to receive weather alerts later this afternoon. We're going to continue to track out these storms as we head into the afternoon. We could be dealing with yet another severe thunderstorm or tornado watch issued by early this afternoon. So we'll go into more detail in the full forecast.
We're keeping you guys in the weather office extra busy.
Very busy indeed.
All right, Blaze.
Yes.
Thank you. And a reminder, you can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn weather app. Download it for free in your phone's app store by searching WISC Weather. Right now, a man is in jail after threatening people with a knife on State Street. Officers found the man just after 8:30 last night. They say he was confrontational and refused to comply with officers' commands. After they were unable to de-escalate the situation, officers used a launcher to fire a spongy projectile at the man. The projectiles are meant to incapacitate or subdue people. Officers then arrested the man and recovered the knife. A protest is planned at the state capitol today against the war in Iran. The Madison branch of the 50-51 movement will host a silent march, sit-in, and protest from 4 to 7. 50-51 is demanding no further strikes or use of force without Congress authorization. The movement says they are dedicated to nonviolence and peaceful conflict resolution. 50-51 stands for 50 states, 50 protests, 1 movement. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is pushing back against an intelligence assessment that U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities only marginally set back that country's nuclear program. During small reports, Pentagon officials are revealing new information about the mission.
As a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran continues to hold,
President Trump created the conditions to end the war.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth forcefully pressed the case Thursday that U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites got the job done.
You want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack.
Hegseth blasted reporters for focusing on a preliminary assessment from the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, suggesting Iran's nuclear program had only been set back by a few months. Defense officials also showed video of tests from bunker buster bombs used in the mission, which they say penetrated ventilation shafts, causing significant damage at key locations, including Fordo.
Simply stated, they absolutely crushed it.
President Trump jumped on social media after the news conference to push back on claims that Tehran moved the enriched uranium out of the sites in advance, saying it would have been too heavy and hard to do so. In a recorded video, Iran's supreme leader downplayed the U.S. strikes and warned against any further U.S. attacks.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know.
Briefings for lawmakers scheduled for earlier this week were postponed.
Our history is full of efforts to either manipulate intelligence or when the few cases where we ignore it, we do it at our own peril.
Today, Secretary Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and other administration officials will brief senators behind closed doors. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
On Wednesday, the White House press secretary told reporters she believes the leak of the initial assessment of the U.S. strikes in Iran was illegal. She says the FBI is investigating. Looking ahead to this weekend, Camp Randall will welcome country artist Morgan Wallen. The home of the Badgers is set to host its first pair of concerts in decades. As the concert brings more people to the area, business owners along Monroe Street and around Camp Randall are also preparing for the potential customers.
Some people will stop in and many people won't, but they will be exposed to Monroe Street and will see what we have here. And we will have a lot of people that will come back after that, either days later or the next day or even months later and say, oh yeah, I saw your store and we didn't get a chance to stop, so we've come back now.
Patrick Herb of UW Athletics says the preparation process began earlier this week. He says bringing the Grammy-nominated artist to town is a big deal for both the UW and the city of Madison as a whole.
These tours have often skipped our community, so to be able to bring Morgan Wallen, Coldplay next month into Madison is great for everybody.
Coldplay will also play at Camp Randall this summer. That performance is at 6 o'clock on July 19th. Later today, Sun Prairie will reveal a week's worth of art. They'll be pulling back the curtains on 9 massive murals from the Mural Fest and Block Party. It's all happening from 5 to 8 this evening at the Washington Mills building. They'll have food and fun as you check out the murals painted by 9 artists from right here at home to across the country. Those artists have been working on the 12 by 16 foot murals since June 18th. They're all inspired by local painter Georgia O'Keeffe, originally from Sun Prairie. Also at the party, a live DJ, a community mural project, and local vendors. Happening tonight at the Orpheum Theater, you can relive one of the greatest runs in UW sports history with the Made 'em Believe 2015 Wisconsin basketball reunion. For the first time in a decade, UW basketball icons Frank Kaminsky, Bo Ryan, Josh Gasser, and Sam Decker are reuniting to reflect on their journey to the 2015 NCAA championship game. ESPN Wisconsin host and former Badger teammate Ben Brust will moderate the event. It starts at 7 with doors opening at 6. We have a link to tickets on channel3000.com. Coming up next on News 3 Now at noon, how McDonald's is giving fans a chance to take a little piece of the restaurant home, plus what the federal government is considering on cryptocurrency and whether it could help home buyers qualify for a loan.
Soon, home buyers might be able to use cryptocurrency to help them qualify for home loans. The federal government has ordered Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare a proposal that would allow them to consider crypto as an asset for single-family home loan risk assessments. If approved and finalized, the proposal could bring the U.S. one step closer to President Donald Trump's pledge to make the country the crypto capital of the world. Dating and networking app Bumble says it's slashing around 30% of its worldwide workforce, which amounts to around 240 employees. The company says the layoffs are expected to save $40 million as it moves to cut costs and refocus on growing its customer base. And McDonald's is now giving fans a chance to take a little piece of the restaurant home. Starting July 1st, the fast food giant will hand out mini toys depicting iconic McDonald's products and scenes, like a mini Boo Bucket or a tiny register with the purchase of a Happy Meal. The Lil McDonald's collection has 21 mini toys in all, and on July 19th and 20th, customers in Los Angeles will get a chance to play in a life-size version of the Lil McDonald's experience. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
And here's your stock report at the noon hour. The Dow's up 352 points, NASDAQ up this hour 149, and the S&P 500 up 40. We have today's farm numbers ahead, along with Blaze's first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, a new Marquette Law poll breaks down how Wisconsinites feel about the governor and the president. Pam Yankee is out of the radio barn on vacation the rest of this week, so here are your farm numbers. Well, time is running out to vote for the best of Madison. There are 5 sections with 150 categories of people, places, and things to choose from. Voting runs through June 30th, and you can cast 1 vote in each category. The winners will be revealed in Madison Magazine's October issue. You can find the full list of categories on channel3000.com. Just look for the best of Madison at the top of the website. Well, time now for your certified most accurate forecast with First Warn meteorologist Blaze Keller, and I think our pet of the week has a lot to say about all that rainfall, Blaze.
Yeah, little Winston here. We're going to take it nice and slow because he's just a little baby kitty, and we're going to learn more about him in just a moment. So we're going to take it nice and slow, little baby. We do have some severe weather, unfortunately, again this afternoon. We're sitting underneath this unsettled pattern, and we do get a brief break from the humidity and that rain chance on Friday, but then we start to once again return back into those hot and muggy conditions as we head into the weekend. We're looking at the return of 90s once again. Sitting underneath a marginal in the green and a slight risk in the yellow. So what that means in terms of thunderstorm chances, especially severe thunderstorm chances, is just a isolated to a severe or to a scatter chance. So the isolated chances in the green, so that's folks in like Rock County as well as in Walworth County, but everybody else in the yellow, they're underneath that scatter chance, Winston. And we're looking at the chance for an isolated tornado or 2. We have the green and the brown there. So folks in the brown, you're going to have a little bit of a better environment for an isolated tornado. And even though that these colors are, according to the legend there, on the lower end, that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't see a tornado. So make sure that you have not only a safety plan, but also a way to receive weather alerts this afternoon. In addition to the isolated tornado threat, we also have a strong wind threat as well. This is kind of that point in the year where we're going to be seeing these strong winds as well as a little bit of rotation in the atmosphere that we could see an isolated tornado as well. This is all forming along what we call a stationary front. It's not moving. That's why it's called a stationary front. And we also see the possibility of a either severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch there for folks in the red. The National Weather Service, as well as the Storm Prediction Center, Little Winston, they've been talking, and they're going to get ahead of the severe weather development later this afternoon. So we'll likely see this watch being issued probably here within the next couple of hours, certainly by the early afternoon, to give folks that time to prepare for that severe weather chance later this afternoon. This is a look at the atmospheric energy, so the food that the storms could use should they develop and become severe. Notice where that stationary front has settled. To the north, there is no energy. So the southern half of our coverage area is really suited up for that severe weather chance. Not to mention our dew points, they're in the 70s. So we have a lot of moisture. We have a lot of instability. We have a little bit of rotation in the atmosphere, Mr. Winston. So we are going to be looking for that chance for severe thunderstorm development as we head into the mid to late afternoon hours. Future track here has us at about 4:30, and that's when these storms are starting to develop right along where you see all those wind arrows coming together, that stationary front. So that is where we're likely going to see the storm development initially, giving us that tornado threat, and then those storms come together and they develop more into that wind and heavy rain threat. So as I mentioned as well, we're looking at a hot and humid weekend, back into those upper 80s to low 90s. We do get a brief break from the heat and humidity. I know you don't like that heat and humidity as we go into Friday, and then we're back into those low to mid 80s as we get closer to the 4th of July. And speaking of the 4th of July, unfortunately, it does look like we're still going to be dealing with a little bit of rain.
I'm with Winston. I don't like the forecast.
He can, you know what? He can just sit right there.
Oh, that's so cute. All right, we're going to learn more about Winston coming up a little bit later. But first, let's see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
When it comes to cooking during the summer, many of us are thinking of tossing something on the grill or making an easy throw-together salad. But after a while, we start craving something a bit more comforting. That's why we came up with a seaside version of mac and cheese that's creamy, dreamy, and comes together in no time. We start by cooking some pasta shells and draining them really well. While it sits, we make a cheese sauce to toss it with. It starts with melted butter that we mix with flour and a few seasonings. Once it's golden, we slowly whisk in some milk and let it simmer until it thickens up. Now for the best part, we stir in lots of shredded cheddar cheese. After it melts, we gently stir in the cooked pasta, some shredded mozzarella cheese, and a good amount of shrimp. Now we'll spoon this into a casserole dish, top it with some buttery cracker crumbs, and pop it in the oven. You'll know it's ready when it's bubbling hot and the topping is golden. Then get ready for lots of comfort. It's cheesy, it's creamy, and it's weeknight easy. To get the recipe for what we call our shrimp mac and cheese, all you have to do is visit our website. Here you go. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a comforting way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Up next, more in our Pet of the Week, Winston the Kitty from the Dane County Humane Society. Time for Potentially Yours here on a Thursday afternoon. Elizabeth Moore from the Dane County Humane Society is here with our Pet of the Week, Winston the Kitty.
Yes, hello.
Hi, tell us about Winston.
So Winston is around, we think, 2 months old. So he's just a little guy. He's very playful, very curious. As you've probably heard already, he's very chatty.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. He has big opinions, so.
Typical kitty, though.
Typical
you know, those kitty cries, just wanting attention, right?
Yeah, wants attention, wants to be held, wants to play, all the fun things.
Very playful.
Yes, yes. We've got a lot of little kitten energy, and we like to play a lot. So he was found under someone's deck with 3 other kittens. So he spent some time in foster with his other friends to get a little bit bigger, and now he's just big enough to be adopted.
You were saying he was really small when you guys first found him. How small was he?
Well, we got him. He came to the Humane Society around like the end of May, early June, and he's just now about 2 months, we think.
Oh, wow.
So
just a wee little baby.
Pretty small, yeah.
And his other litter mates have been adopted or have a hold, but he is ready to go home.
Yes.
What does it take to raise a kitten of this size? What do families need to know?
Yeah, so it's a lot of it is just kind of keeping an eye on them, make sure they don't get into places they shouldn't.
I mean, Winston moves fast, too.
He does. Yeah, when he wants to go somewhere, he will.
A little bell.
But it also comes with teaching them like appropriate things to like get their energy out. So what's good to scratch, what's good to chew on, versus things that's not. Like we don't want our fingers to be the toys, really. So lots of work with that, just making sure that they know what's good, what they should avoid, and help them kind of grow to be well-rounded.
What is good food for a kitten of this size? Wet food, dry food, a mix of both?
It can be both. Dry food's fine, wet food's fine. A lot of kittens and cats especially are particular in what they like, so a lot of it is kind of experimenting to see what
I know
they
that
like.
as a cat owner.
What they like the best, but there's kitten dry food, there's kitten soft food. Some folks do a mix.
Is he purring?
Yeah, there was a little purring there.
Man, I didn't get a purr.
You just got the cries.
I got the attitude, and now he's coming over to make peace.
Because Winston doesn't like the forecast, that's why. All right, well, hey, we appreciate Elizabeth Moore bringing in Winston the Kitty. We're going to find him a home.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Well, hey, June is Adopt a Cat Month, and Dane County Humane Society is celebrating with reduced adoption fees for all cats and kittens through June 30th. So it's the perfect time to bring home your new feline friend, maybe Winston right here. You can stop by the DCHS Adoption Center to see the pets available for adoption. Adoptions are first come, first served. Hey, an update on last week's pet. Morty the dog is now in a foster home, but still waiting to be adopted. So at least at a foster home right there. If you're interested in adopting Morty, you can contact the DCHS Adoption Center to set up a meet and greet. So if you want to adopt Winston, you can check out other animals as well at Dane County Humane Society.org. And Blaze is here now with the final check of the forecast.
Yes, without the little attitude from Mr. Winston over there. We do have a severe weather outlook this afternoon. We're looking at possibly a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch here to probably be issued within the next hour or so. We have an isolated to scattered chance for severe weather, so a marginal and a slight risk. There is an isolated tornado threat, especially for folks in the brown there. You need to make sure that you have a way to receive not only weather alerts like our First Warn Weather app, but also a safety plan in case a tornado warning is issued for where you live. And again, remember folks, a watch is we are watching conditions. A warning is you need to take action, especially during a tornado warning. We do get a break from the heat and humidity on Friday. And then the weekend, it's looking like it's going to be hot and humid again. Upper 80s to low 90s, but then low to mid 80s return starting Tuesday of next week.
All right, Blaze, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is at 4, and we're always on at channel3000.com.